Hello and welcome, Call of Dragons, beautiful people. Today we're going to be doing a Liliya guide. I just posted Waldir and Nico as well today, but we're also doing a Liliya guide. So we're going to go over her skill review and talents. And thank you, Polak, for this recommendation. So to start off with an overview of Liliya. Liliya is going to be one of, if not the strongest mage in the game. She is a full pay-to-win hero. Jeez, I know. So what you're going to focus on with Liliya is if you're low spender, you're going to get her to 5-1-1-1. That's where you're going to leave her as. If you're pay to win, then you're obviously going to max her out like this. So just a quick overview introduction. I am in season 2 right now on a new account, and I've got 17.7 million PvP kills so far. Darkling kills 78. So I'm switching into becoming a mage main for this account, and that's where we are at. So, starting off with Flames of Vengeance. Liliya deals diffuse damage, and I haven't explained it in the other videos before, but when it says diffuse damage, each legion takes 15% less damage per additional target. This is just to stop AoE from absolutely being busted. Now, you'll notice that the skill damage factor is 1200, so it's not overly. Like, we're talking about Cav heroes of being 1400, not being strong enough, and this is only 1200. Liliya's damage to Scorch and to do massive amounts of AoE is always going to keep her viable, if not being one of the best mages. So she's always going to be a good pickup. But this is what makes mages, in my opinion, less free to play than archers to start the game. Now, moving on to her next ability is part of the new skills that applies to all legions, whether or not the hero has been deployed. So, Dazzling Inferno is just peacekeeping bonus of 15% when she's awakened, or 12% before awakening. Really, you don't need this skill at all. Her third skill, Deep Burn. Liliya's magic units gain 20% magical attack and HP. So just extra magic attack, gonna always love that. And then extra HP is always nice. And here, when Legion launches a normal attack, 30% chance to scorch up to 2 surrounding enemies if the Legion is scorched. So we apply Scorch through our Rage skill. So Scorch damage factor is 200 damage a second. And Scorch deals damage for 5 seconds. So that's an extra 1000 damage factor. So if we scorch them, that's now 2200 damage factor. That's what kicks up that 1200. So that's the upfront, and then we have the scorch, and then we can apply that scorch, 30% chance to apply it to 2 other legions every attack. Massive for an extra 1000 damage factor. So her Awakening just moves it. So what you're going to have, if you have 5-1-1-1, without the Awakening, you're just going to be hitting 1 Legion, where I'm hitting 2. So that's the difference there. She's just massive if you do awaken her, and that. So how you get Liliya is through the VIP store. So you get her starting off here. You get 10, and then all the way up to VIP 9. You get 235. So you have to buy all the packages from 1 to 9 to be able to awaken her. Now, hopping into the talent tree for Liliya and what I run. So my focus with Liliya is open field PvP and dealing rage skill cycle. Okay, I started off, I don't know if yeah. So I started off with using her as my peacekeeping hero, and then I switched her out of peacekeeping to this, but I should have just changed trees, and I would have had that for you guys. But just a quick overview, it's the exact same tree as Waldeer. Look at that. Look at that. From watching Guns and other people play, just the magic skill tree, it just doesn't seem to hold the same weight as what I can get with using the skills tree. Okay? It just doesn't seem as strong. So to start off, we're going to take the same 3 points. Same 3 points. Coming up into Mighty Power. And then we're going to head right first. So going right, we're going to get the overall attack. We're going to get more skill damage. That's what it's all about, baby. The skill damage. We're pumping up that rage skill. This is the bread and butter. The 2200 damage factor, bread and butter. We're pumping that up. And then we're going to get more rage cycle. We're going to try and max out how much rage we can get per turn. That's what it's all about. Spirit Rage, and then we're going to come in here and do Detached. Now, if you are running her with Thea, you're going to probably get the Unquenchable Will instead of Detached. But whatever. I'm going with Detached because it gives me the extra 8% skill damage factor, which is 10 points on the tree. We're getting for 5. And we're going to go right into crit. Covered in the Waldeer video. So launching a normal attack, your Legion has a 10% chance to gain hero skill focus, increasing their hero skill crit rate by 10%. And then we're dealing 15% bonus damage. So if we can get that crit up and we can launch a crit, bam, that's an extra 15% crit damage bonus. Now here, Caged Animal, that's more for behemoths, or if you can stand there cycling your rage cycle. If you can't, if there's lots of mobility, lots of cavalry, if you can't stand there and just snipe from the back, then you are going to switch to Thirst for Blood. Thirst for Blood is better if you are only getting 1, 2, 3 rage cycles, then you're going to want to go for Thirst for Blood. If you can stand there for a while and you're just cycling rage skills like on a behemoth where there's not a lot of running, Caged Animal is going to be your bread and butter. After we finish the right hand side of the tree, you're going to come to the left hand side of the tree, picking up the HP, then I'm picking up Foresight. I don't care about the march speed really, because when I'm playing with my Liliya, I want to have good positioning, I want to stand, and I just want to attack. I don't want to move. I don't ever want to move. Moving's bad. I just want to stand, attack, and pump out as much damage as possible. Make sure I'm in the back and I'm dealing damage. That's what it's all about. I put my extra point I put into 3% march speed bonus. So this march speed is going to be better than here. That's 2% flat. Here, that's 2%. So the march speed on the left-hand side of the tree for most trees, most heroes, this one's going to be 1% better. Here again, we're getting an extra 4% hero skill damage. 4% hero skill damage, 4% or 4% skill damage here, so we're at 8, 16 right there. And then finally, we're going to get Magic Maelstrom. When your Legion consists entirely of magic units, they gain defensive penetration before casting rage skills, ignoring 10% of the target's defense for 5 seconds. And this effect can be triggered every 30 seconds. Now I'm taking that over this. 8% chance to add an additional target to rage skill that deals damage to multiple targets. Really, I'm already hitting 2 legions. I'm hitting 2 legions already. Now, if you don't have Liliya Awakened, you might want to take that talent. But really, it's an 8% chance. So that means out of 8 every 100 rage skill cycles, then you're going to be hitting an extra legion. Not worth it. Not worth it in my opinion. Right here, I'm going to take the defensive break. I prefer not gambling. I prefer flat stats over massive power spikes, random power spikes. So that's what I'm going to do here. Yeah, I know crit is like a chance based as well, but really when you do land that crit, you're going to be doing just so much damage. So that's going to be the hero skill trait. Like I said, this if you can caged animal, if you can stand and attack for long periods of time. If not, you're going to take thirst for blood. That's what I'm going to do. Now if you do need a bit more march speed, which you shouldn't, but if you do, then you would drop 4 points out of foresight and throw them into magic seed. So that's what I'm using for my Liliya skills and talents. Now we're going to move into pairings. So first we're going to start off with the magical pairings. This is for Season 1, Season 2. So you're always going to be using Liliya as your primary. There isn't a pairing out there that I would use Liliya as my secondary. Not really. I can't think of one. So typically a lot of people pair their Liliya with their Valen, and she's just got that skill tree versus his control. So my Velen is not maxed out, but you've got that high skill damage factor and the march speed reduction, which just adds the CC. He adds the extra march speed bonus of 20%, so that's where you get your march speed from, is from his skills. Hero skill damage dealt 15%, solid. Magic hero crit rate bonus of 10%. So you've got 10% here, and then the talent trait, you've got an extra 10%. So we're at 20% crit rate when you max that. And then here, magic defense reduction and march speed reduction. Now, I should have maxed these two first, but I got Velen to 4 stars, and then it just happened to roll here. But coming out soon, they're supposed to be having a locking. So you would lock and you would take these two before you max the 4 skill. So there's no real point in doing a Velen skill guide, because Velen is just going to be my secondary always to my Liliya. Now, other good pairings, if you are low to spend, free to play, you're not going to be getting your Velen, which is totally fine. Waldir. Waldir is a fantastic deputy that you can run with your Liliya. So I would run Liliya Waldir, and he's just going to be doing that same march speed reduction. He's going to give attack reduction. You know, he's also going to be giving more attack damage and skill damage. Everything that you want right there in Waldir. Okay, so Waldir, there's also Atheist. So I also have my Atheist awakened. Not the greatest skill damage factor, gonna be honest, but I still love him because you get that extra rage regen. And so we're just going to be pumping rage. We're going to max out the amount of rage we can get per turn to just keep firing Liliya's rage skill over and over and over again. Okay, he's got some health bonus and healing receive bonus, march speed 20%, damage taken reduction. So he's not really adding too much into combat stats there, but with him being awakened, Atheist Legion has a 30% chance of receiving healing when hit with a normal attack, and so we can get a little bit of healing back if you get focused. So, which you should be avoiding at all cost, but it's just basically the rage skill generator is why you could do Atheist, but I would put Waldir as the deputy to Liliya before I did Atheist. So that's Liliya Velen. You've got Liliya Waldir or Liliya Atheist. Now, Liliya is fantastic if you get her to that at least 5111. Because what else you can run with her is you can take her with Moo. Okay, you can take her with Moo, and Moo is going to be doing bunch of AoE damage as well, hitting a bunch of other targets. It can jump up to, I believe it's 3 targets. So yeah, she does the skill damage factor of 800, and then it bounces to 2 other targets, is what I believe. I know it's at least 1. So this is fantastic for dealing some more AoE damage, which is exactly what we're doing. We've got a little bit of healing factor, which counteracts any counterattack damage you might be taking. Healing granted bonus of 10%, Legion defense bonus. And then Legion attack 8%. So until we get the legendary, this is just season 1, season 2 kind of idea. Then we've got the extra attack. So that'll pair well with your Liliya, so that's another option. And a final option, and what I've done the best with is Thea, actually. You can see it in one of the Battle Abysses that I've ran. I ran the Liliya Thea, and I got over 100k merits in that one Battle Abyss with just that one march, right? So here is what we have, is you're going to be running with Celestials. Okay, you're running this with Celestials, not with your mages. We grant shields, so without Thea Awakened, you're just going to be granting it to your own team, but that's going to counteract any counterattack damage you're taking, and she's going to then buff the hero skill damage by 15%. So we're just buffing this damage with the shields. Then we're getting extra attack bonus 15%. Extra attack bonus 10%. Getting an extra 20% march speed. See, you don't need the march speed. You've got it here. When the Legion is composed entirely of flying units, that's why we're using Celestials right there, right? Extra attack. And fourth skill, guess what? Extra bonus attack 10%. Max attack bonus 30%. Just an extra 30% damage. We're just stacking attack, and then her awakening just makes it so her shields go up to friendly allies as well, making it a fantastic pairing. Now, there is Hosk. I have seen people use Liliya Hosk. It's never worked for me. Gonna be honest, it's been absolute dog. So, if you want to try running the Hosk for the attack bonus, counter attack, extra Legion capacity, I've never found Hosk and Liliya to work well, so that's one that I'm not going to recommend. But the Liliya with the Thea, great. Oh, I mean, you could actually use even your Liliya with your Bahorn. Forgot about that one. So Liliya could be paired with so many heroes because you have Bahorn giving you the extra rage, giving 1,000 damage factor, you know, healing, hitting multiple. We've got an attack bonus, we've got another 20% march speed, we've got attack resistance, magic unit damage taken reduction of 8% or 10%. This isn't very good with losing 50 rage. That's not very good. And this doesn't really help you with getting normal attack crit rate of 30%. So, Bahorn's in there too, but I would go with your Liliya and your Thea, your Liliya and your Velen, Liliya Mu, Liliya Waldir, even Liliya Atheist. So you've got so many options for this pay-to-play hero. Moving into artifacts next. So for artifacts, obviously the number one is going to be Infernal Flame. I got lucky and got mine already level 5 in Season 2 here, and I'm just waiting for another card to max it. Max this baby out. So almost max this one out. So this one's going to be dealing an extra 22 damage factor, 2200 damage factor for the next 3 seconds. Fantastic. It's absolutely broken. And then your Legion gains Magical Keen when the wielder inflicts Scorch, which we're inflicting Scorch 2 ways. One with the Rage attack, and then one with the 4th skill there, Magic Keen plus Magic Attack, 30%. We're just rocking it. We're absolutely rocking it. This is ridiculous. Made for her. That's going to be your number one. Number one right here. Honorable mentions, I mean, there is always the Phoenix Eye. This is always solid, but I would use this on a secondary mage. You know, if you're 5-bombing it, this will be on a different march, and we're going to be running the Infernal Flame. Now, for someone who's not going to be a dirty spender, you have the Magical Bomb. This is one that a lot of people are going to be using, is the Magical Bomb. You also have the book here, so you can also run the book. Magical Bomb. Now, if you are running her with Thea, another option is Visage of Sanctus if you're running with those Celestials, and then we can just get the shields stacking. So this is another option, but really number one and only option is that Infernal Flame. So she's not a free-to-play friendly hero in that regard, because you're going to need at least one of the Infernal Flame, which is going to be around, I mean, depends on how lucky you are, you're going to be around 80 to 180 pulls to try and get this one. So that's it for artifacts. For pets, like I said, my pets are not good. Don't be looking at my pets. This is just an example. You are always going to use the Sapphiric Phaedrake. That's going to be the number one pet and always in slot. This is the pet that you're going to be running with your Liliya. Yes, I know, I need to fix my pet. So I've got two different Sapphiric Phaedrakes that I'm working on right now. And this is just kind of how I rolled them. So we've got this. There's no reason to use another pet. There's really not. You could. I have seen people using 5-bomb sand lizards or 4-bomb sand lizards. And you could do that for the massive amounts of healing and sustain. That's another option for you. Okay, so this one's geared towards magical units. This sand lizard here, not the best stats, but I've got an 8 slot there. So, and I'm currently working on getting the stone aura to 2 stars. So that is a second in slot. If you're running a 4 or 5 sand lizards, then you could run your sand lizards. If not, you're running that Sapphiric Phaedrake always. So basically, when you start the game, this will take you through the entire game. Liliya will take you through the entire game. She's always going to be part of your mage marches. If you're running 3, 4, 5 mage marches in the open field, it's always going to be Liliya's going to be in there, and so is that Phaedrake. You can always put that in there. So that's going to be an investment that will carry you throughout the game. Anyways, thanks. Hopefully you guys have fun, and I'll check you out in the next video.